a Alexander Uballez, quien es uno de los candidatos a la alcaldía aquí en la ciudad de Albuquerque. Alex, welcome.
My name's Alex Uballez. I'm running for mayor here in Albuquerque. I was most recently your United States Attorney, and so I served as a Chief Federal Law Enforcement Officer for all of New Mexico for the past 3 years. But before that, I spent my whole career, 15 years here, in public service and public safety. I started as a Crimes Against Children prosecutor here in the DA's office in Bernalillo County, and then I was a cartel investigator for the feds before I became the United States Attorney. But first and foremost, I think I'm a father, I'm a husband. I'm raising 3 small kids here in downtown Albuquerque, and I'm running to build a city that they will choose for their futures and for their families.
What are your plans to get that crime down and build that trust between, our community and police officers? No.
That's where I spent 15 years of my career, was just solving crime and figuring out how we use our resources in an intelligent way to focus on serious crimes, right? And so like murders, rapes, drug trafficking, but also focus resources where they are for people so they don't fall into crime, right? And so as U.S. Attorney, we focus strategically on high-level drug traffickers and cartel members, taking down the largest fentanyl seizure in the history of the nation here in New Mexico, as well as public integrity, where we took down 30 years of corruption in Albuquerque's police department. But in the state system, what you see often is people fall into criminal justice because of poverty, or because of addiction, or because of mental health. What we have to do then as a community is figure out solutions for these 3 things before a person falls into criminal justice. So I'm a big believer, and I helped start the Violence Intervention Program here in Albuquerque, which is a way to proactively go and speak with people who are most likely to shoot or be shot, and to both deliver a message of care, which is, you're a member of our community. We care about you. We want you to be safe, alive, and free. So by doing this combined approach of both targeting the most serious criminals, but also intervening and preventing on the front end, we can drive down crime.
¿Cuál es su plan para ayudar a las personas a obtener tratamiento y vivienda mientras mantienen seguros los espacios públicos y las comunidades?
Prevention. So both with having an economy with good paying jobs and affordable rents, but also making sure that we're keeping people in housing. First, we need to do street outreach, right? So this is the vision of ACS that they're not delivering on. We should be using them as UNMH's street medics work, which is going out, meeting people where they are, rebuilding the trust broken by these multiple sweeps and throwing away of people's things, and then getting them the services and treatments, the medical treatment that they need right there. The second thing we need is we have shelters, right? The mayor touts 1,000 people housed every night. Most of those people are housed in the West Side shelter, which is a jail. So what we're saying is we found a jail to put 700 people every night. There are 3 caseworkers there. That is not a provision of services. That is not a path off of the streets. It is just a place to hide people so we don't see them every night. And it's not a solution. And so what we actually need is transitional housing, which is housing on the back end of any night 1 crisis response. Finally, for those suffering from serious mental illnesses, they most often contact the governments in the criminal justice system, right? What we need to do is implement what's called the sequential intercept model. It was modeled in Miami and has worked incredibly successfully out there. We actually have a $1 billion trust fund passed by our state legislature this past year to fund it. We should build the framework now in partnership with the courts, in partnership with the county, so that we can now intervene in the criminal justice system, so that we identify folks who are suffering from serious mental illnesses, and we connect them with services right there while we have them.
¿Qué es el plan de él para poder disminuir, estos altos costos de vivienda, pero el alto costo de vivir, en la ciudad de Albuquerque?
Yeah, and so we need to keep people in houses is one, but we already talked about that a little bit, which is made housing assistance, rental assistance, so people don't fall to the streets, so maintaining where we are. We need to build more housing. Like the amount of permits that we've issued, the amount of housing units that we've built has fallen off a cliff, right? We are way behind where we need to be. I also think we need to think strategically about our city, what kind of building that we are doing, because we have to maintain the culture and the feel of our city. We're also building it for our future, right? We need more housing, but it doesn't mean we have to lose what Albuquerque feels like. And so what that looks like for me is focusing on critical areas like our downtown and our transit corridors for building density.
¿Cuál es su plan para traer más empleos mejor pagados a Albuquerque, pero también ayudar con los pequeños negocios?
Right, and that liaison with APS and the mayor's office, with APS and high schoolers, so that we supply them with the options for trades. We supply them with options, to be teachers teachers to be public servants. So they know that they don't have to go to college, they don't have to be A students, in organic chemistry in order to be successful people in our community. We should invest, I think, especially in high school, right, and this spans the trades, right, because it's both skilled trades, the building of solar panels, electricity to run them, right, the energy storage. We could be the mecca of solar. Create a network on microgrids throughout the city. We have a thing that if we do that makes us energy independent. We can not only sell the solar panels themselves and the energy storage itself, but the power that we make. And every solar panel that's on a government building, we can build a federal government for every watt produced. And we also save the world. And so I think we should be thinking big and bold like this so that we have options and opportunities for our city.
What is your vision with education?
The problems experienced in a classroom don't start there. They start at home. They start in the community. They start, as we were talking about, in unstable houses. And so we need to help people stay in stability, encourage the developments of trades and skills in our schools, right? So like APS board, of course, governs what happens, in the curriculum in APS. But from the outside, the city can, right? Partner to make sure that we're giving those extracurricular opportunities, those trades and skills, after school programs for kids. And so I think it's us, the city, it's our responsibility to build these structures for our kids so they have opportunities to grow up, to have good paying jobs, and to stay here in Albuquerque.
Pero pasando a la última, so my last question is about immigration and inclusion.
My mom was born in China and migrated here as a young girl. My dad's Mexican American, and he was born in the projects of East LA. And if folks don't believe that when they pick up the phone, they will receive the help that they need for the emergency that they're facing, right, and not an ICE raid and deportation, they won't call. And that'll make all of us less safe. And so for me, from the law enforcement side, it's critical that we build that trust as thinking about how immigration enforcement is actually playing out, right? So I was the U.S. attorney here. I'm the only candidate who's actually conducted immigration enforcement. During the last administration, what that looked like was we were focusing on people who were murderers, who were rapists, who were cartel bosses, right? Because when we're thinking criminal enforcement, we're thinking how do we make the public more safe? But that's not what you're seeing now. What you're seeing now is 70% of people who are swept up in ICE raids have zero criminal history. Where we stand, where we build a strong and resilient community, where we stand up for our neighbors is here in Albuquerque, in our local election, in this mayoral election, in this city council election, where we build a system that works for our kids, in this APS election, all of which are going on right now. So I need you all to go vote. I need you to take 10 friends to go vote, because this democracy only works if we participate in it.
Le queremos agradecer a Alex Uballez por tomarse el tiempo de hablar con nosotros aquí en Telemundo Nuevo México. Thank you, Alex.
Es un placer.